Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Well, there are 8 of them, and they are 8, probably not surprisingly, whom they disagree with the most vehemently on policy issues, and that we should underscore that, even though the argument that Democrats are making that.
All right, then. All right. I know.
Since the very first Congress sat down in New York and Philadelphia way back in 1789. Republicans have both control of both the House and Senate are promising an ambitious agenda aimed at immediately reversing President Obama's legislative legacy, including repealing Obamacare. But Democrats are gearing up for a major battle over some of President-elect Trump's cabinet picks. This comes as President Obama himself is preparing to defend and try to protect his legacy. CNN's Dana Bash and Michelle Kosinski have both sides of the story covered from the White House and Capitol Hill, but we begin with our chief political correspondent, Dana Bash. He's here in Washington. So which of Trump's selections are they going to zero in on, the Democrats?
Well, there are 8 of them, and they are 8, probably not surprisingly, whom they disagree with the most vehemently on policy issues, and that we should underscore that, even though the argument that Democrats are making, that the Democratic leader Chuck Schumer is making, is that the reason they're going to try to slow walk them is because they don't have adequate information, background information, financial disclosures, so forth, not just to the committees that are going to be in charge of confirming these nominees, but also, they say, to the FBI and even the Office of Government Ethics. So that they say that that is what they are demanding, so that you see the pictures on the screen there, so that there is absolutely no question that there are no conflicts of interest, particularly for those who have very, very big portfolios and a lot of money. There are several billionaires on that list, people who have never served in public office. So that's what their argument is. Okay,
and now when you look at this, was the process any different from President Obama? Did he get more leeway with those initial cabinet picks?
Well, it's unclear. It's in some ways the Democrats argue, and I think they're right, comparing apples to oranges, in that the Obama administration, when they sent the confirmations up to Capitol Hill, when he announced his nominees, that background information was there along with it. And, you know, the good news for Donald Trump is that he got his cabinet picks done pretty quickly. The bad news is maybe it's because of who these people are. The information that goes with it has been lagging behind. So Democrats argue that, yes, they did. The Republicans did allow 7 nominees to be confirmed on Obama's inauguration day, but they also had the information. The one thing that I want to point out, though, is that, you know, I think even more than the who this is the why does it matter? And the Democrats don't have a lot of cards that they can play. Right. But, and this is really not one of them. They can't stop any of these nominees, really. They don't have the votes to do it. But what they can do is slow the train.
Right. Slow the train, then. Slow it. I wonder if you understood, exactly what that repertoire represented. Because here's what's happening. You know, I was so excited that all these people that, the President Piotis had to, that he nominated for cabinet positions had to get confirmed through a Senate process where questions would be asked and hopefully answers would be forthcoming, and there would be a vetting process by which we could see whether or not these people were tied up with oligarchs around the world, where their money comes from, where their loans came from, where their business interests are, especially guys like Rex Tillerson, who, was very involved with Russia's oil and gas industry through his, chairmanship of ExxonMobil, Alabama, right? That's what it is. No. And so, well, it's all homegrown, isn't it? Come on. So here you have the Senate that's supposed to advise and consent, right? And the Office of Government Ethics is this. You remember the first day they tried to dissolve the Office of Government Ethics, and they were going to dissolve that office and move it into the Ethics Committee, except the Ethics Committee would never talk to the press or tell the press whether or not they were vetting people or whether or not they were looking into people or whether or not they were investigating people, nor would they tell anybody, and they would prohibit the telling of anybody outside the committee who was being looked at and why and what came of it. And, so it wasn't just the media that was going to be left out. It was anybody outside that little clubby group known as the Ethics Committee, which is, it's an oxymoron now because there is no ethics. And the committee, failed in its attempt to do it because they are so stupid, the Republicans. They don't know how to govern. They haven't governed in over 8 years. They don't know all they've done for 8 years is obstruct and stand in the way and bitch and moan and complain and scratch their asses and go to the gym. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to get sworn in and they're going to move so fast that we're not even going to get, oh my God, there's so much about this that is so wrong. All right, so let's go back. The Office of Government Ethics, which they tried to remove from existence, is complaining, and now we know why they wanted to remove it from existence, is complaining that Trump's nominees, 8 of them at least, have not been vetted. Meaning they haven't submitted their financial statements. They haven't submitted any background checks that the FBI needs to conduct. Nothing has been done. We don't know who these people are. We don't know where their money comes from. We don't know if they're, thick with thieves in their organizations or if they're doing business with Russian oligarchs or how, we just don't know. And so tomorrow they're going to start anyway with these hearings and if you sit on multiple committees, let's say you sit on the Intelligence Committee, tomorrow you will be hosting the intelligence community on the report about the Russian hacking into our election. If you sit on the Judiciary Committee, you better not have a seat on the Intel Committee because at the same time, you're going to have Jeff Sessions in front of his own committee where he has toiled all these many years with his colleagues and friends confirming him to be our new Attorney General. And that's just Tuesday. Then there'll be 5 different hearings for confirmations on Wednesday, 5 of them in front of different committees. So if you have multiple committee seats, you won't be able to attend all of the confirmation hearings on all the cabinet picks. And Trump is holding his very first press conference in about 6 months. So let's guess which gets more coverage, shall we? The confirmation hearings, the tough questions that will be asked of guys like Rex Tillerson of ExxonMobil or or Betsy DeVos, who gave, listen, this is so crazy. Betsy DeVos, all right, let's backtrack a little because Dana Bash did not know the answer to the question that was posed of her. When she was asked, well, in all fairness, did the Obama administration have this much trouble with their cabinet picks? Well, I don't know why no one remembers, but Tom Daschle was supposed to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and he didn't make it because he owed back taxes. So he was not our Secretary of Health and Human Services. Remember Bill Richardson from New Mexico, Governor Bill Richardson. He was supposed to be, he was Obama's pick for Commerce Secretary. He didn't make it. He was forced to withdraw his own name because there was an investigation into his business dealings. Produced absolutely no wrongdoing. But that's, so he had to withdraw his name. And then Obama nominated Senator Judd Gregg to be the Commerce Secretary. And he withdrew his name because he said he had conflicts of interest that would prevent him from being Secretary of Commerce over economic issues. So, there's 3 right there that just come rolling off the tip of your tongue that Obama could not get confirmed to his cabinet. And so one wonders, are all of these people that Trump has picked that no one knows anything about, that the OGE director, the Office of Government Ethics director, is complaining in a letter to Senate leaders saying that this is an unprecedented situation, that the office has not received the financial disclosure reports from many of the nominees? Now, consider this. Betsy DeVos, who gave millions of dollars to the sitting senators who will now confirm her owes $5 million in election-related fines. Do you think that... But she's not going to have a problem. But God knows, Senator Tom Daschle, he owed a couple of shekels in back taxes. And so he was not accepted as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. But Tom Price, whose only qualification is he's absolutely anti-contraception. And when the lack of contraception produces a pregnancy, oh God, Mother Nature, what a bitch, then you shouldn't be able to, get an abortion either. This is so crazy, and all of these hearings are going to happen in about over a period of like 3 days, beginning tomorrow. And there's these people haven't been vetted. We've got 5 people being confirmed on Wednesday, plus Trump's press conference. And what is the freaking media reporting about? They're reporting about Meryl Streep's speech last night, where she told the freaking truth about this man mocking a disabled reporter, which she thought was one of the most grotesque performances of the year. Actually, her speech was hysterically funny because it started with the premise that this could be the last Golden Globes award because, and Hugh Laurie beat her to the joke, but because it was Hollywood, the foreign press. Hollywood, foreign, and press. 3 things that, are going to have to pray to survive in this country, for the next couple of years until he's impeached. So this is what they've chosen to tell you about today, as if we didn't see that dress. Meryl, really? What was that dress? What were all those dresses? I don't know. The girl that won for the crown. Did you see? You like her, but what was that dress? I mean, even I would not. I mean, I like a crazy sleeve too sometimes. But she's so deep in her role that her stylist could not get her out of, early England. I mean, what was that dress? The sequin, the beadwork was so fine. It was so delicious and so good. And then they put a sleeve on there that looked like, George Sr. was going to do one more parachute dive. What was that? And what is with all the beards? The men in Hollywood are like, they don't want to make out with you anymore. They're sending this message, that I've got, a gravy from last week's dinner still on my face. What is all the... I couldn't tell one Affleck from another. I couldn't. I mean, I love those awards. I love award shows. I love award shows, except for Donald Trump's, because I always had this creepy feeling that the thing was rigged and it depended on who you let, grab you. And it turns out I was right. But so not much on the beauty thing. But I love art awards. I love awards given for art. And which she was very funny about it. She said, and if you want to trash us, then the only art you're ever going to get on television is like mixed martial arts, which are not the arts. And what does he do? He picks a Twitter war with her. So now I'm completely convinced that all this twittering, all this tweeting of his is a complete and utter distraction for the media. It's like Hansel and Gretel leaving the breadcrumbs and into the woods. Underrated actress, Donald? Really? Underrated actress? You're a reality TV star and you suck. You pick fights with Meatloaf and Gary Busey for a living. And now you're about to be president and you want it to be that nobody should criticize, that this is the history, that and you being all mobbed up with Russian oligarchs that have, now made their presence known in our election. We're not supposed to be talking about any of that. We're not. And then we're going to go woo right through these hearings with these people that are. These people are a tidal wave of kleptocracy coming into our government. And when the OGE says, we haven't vetted any of them, we haven't gotten any of their financial disclosure forms, we have all these unresolved ethics issues. And you look at this man who spent all last week, trashing the CIA, trashing the NSA. Now he finds time to slap the FBI in the face because the FBI hasn't done the background checks on any of these people who are about to be in charge of these gigantic government agencies that regulate things like Wall Street and energy, like nuclear weapons and business and tax reform. That's happy, wishful thinking, tax reform and taxes and the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. I mean, we don't even know who these freaking people are. They won't give any of their paperwork to Congress. And Mitch McConnell has the balls to say, grow up to us. We haven't had a Supreme Court justice confirmed in almost a year, but he's now going to tell us that we need to rush through all these people in like less than 2 days. In less than 2 days. And there's really nothing anybody could. So what the Democrats are trying to do is slow it all down. Just because we don't have the votes to prevent them from taking these offices. They will eventually take these offices. There's no question that they will take these offices because we don't, unless we can embarrass the incoming so badly at these hearings, which is why we need to slow it down. Because they couldn't even ask them a decent question about their financial dealings because we don't have the information. The committees don't have the information. Nobody. So what's this going to be? These aren't confirmation hearings. This is a bum rush. This is like a bunch of freaking metalheads trying to crash the gate at a Metallica concert. That's what they're behaving like. And if that's the wrong generation for you, it's like being trampled at a Who concert, all right? You get that? They want to rush through these hearings. The nominees haven't even gone through FBI background checks. And after James Comey did so much to deliver the election to Donald Trump, why? He almost did as much as Putin. Now, Comey's going to be testifying tomorrow. I hope somebody has the temerity to ask him, what do we do with these nominees who haven't passed your background checks yet?
This is the Randi Rhodes Show.
Go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.